Aloha, everyone. Hope you're all doing amazing and having a wonderful time. I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas. That is my first time ever in Arkansas, and we're doing a training here in Little Rock. We have an intimate group that's coming in that we're gonna have an amazing time with. And the team's back there. That's Valen, Edon, and that's Kyle. Edon, wave. Say hi to everyone. Look, that's Valen, one of our teachers. If you haven't met her, she tried to duck, but she's ducking on the wrong side of the table. It was perfect. Anyway, we're here getting set up. We're at our prac training, and we're getting set up for the event that's going to be happening. Starts tomorrow. We'll be doing 4 days. We got the bulk of our team here, and it's really amazing. You know, I appreciate you guys joining in, and those of you who are doing this regularly, I'm going to do my best to keep up with it regularly as long as there's no technical difficulties. And so I wanted to jump right in here. Those of you who haven't done neuro-linguistic programming, it's one of the things that I teach, NLP. It's a study of communication. Hey, Mary, good to see you. It's a study of communication. How do you be more effective with your communication with yourself and with others? And it's really important because even if you're going down a spiritual path like many of us are, if you're wanting to work with energy, energy flows where attention goes, right? So your mindset, how you think, actually directs the energy. It directs the mana. How you think about yourself during a meditation, that energy goes into the meditation. You know, a lot of people have that monkey chatter that's in their mind. Well, one of the things that comes from NLP is having clear communication. That's why I'm here to teach it. Nicole's going to be here, and Nicole's one of our other amazing trainers, and the two of us both on a spiritual path, and yet we focus on communication. We focus on NLP. So let me talk about one of the main concepts in NLP. It's not the only one. It comes from what are called the NLP presuppositions. That's a fancy way of saying that they are presupposing certain things. And the NLP presuppositions are mindsets of really good communicators. This was modeled from excellent communicators, not something that we came up with. And so one of the things that the early inventors of NLP, Richard Bandler, John Grinder, even my father in the early days, when they got to work with people who communicated really well, one of the things that they noticed is that they thought about the communication in a different way. What I mean by that is that they thought about the words less and what the result was more. Let me say that again. Master communicators, they are less concerned about the words and they are more concerned about the result of the communication. In NLP terminology, we call that the meaning of communication is the response that you get. Let me say that again. The meaning of communication is the response that you get. It's a simple way of saying that the whole point of communicating, the whole point of saying something to someone is to get a specific result, a specific response. So for example, Ethan's 22. He's going to be 23 this year, my son, amazing young man, just got to hang out with him at Huna. And Ethan, when he was younger, and we were growing up, he's in elementary school, I would routinely have to say to him, Ethan, I need you to go clean your room. Ethan, I need you to go clean your room. How many of you as parents have ever used the amazing technique of slower and louder, right? Instead of saying it a different way, we slow down and we say it a little bit louder. Like Ethan doesn't clean his room after I tell him 3 times, and instead of changing my communication, I say, Ethan, go clean your room. By putting a vowel on the end of it, Dog Whisperer says that they listen better. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in relationships. It doesn't work in career. It doesn't work at all. Exactly, Rachel, exactly. It doesn't work, and yet people do that. They keep doing the same thing over and over again, thinking they're going to get a different result. And that's the definition of insanity, right? Not the workout program, just being crazy. And so one of the concepts of NLP, which I learned at a very early age, is that the whole point in communicating is to get a response, right? Me opening my mouth is trying to get Ethan to go do something, to clean his room. So an excellent communicator then tags into that the law of requisite variety, which is called being flexible. So you take these two concepts together, meaning of communication is the response you get, and the law of requisite variety. And what you're looking at here is that excellent communicators, they're concerned most with their results, and if they don't get the results, rather than slower and louder, they say it a different way. They communicate it a completely different way. I want you to think about that for a moment. If in communicating with a team worker, like I got a team here, and if I want to get something here in the room, for example, we're going to need a table over here pretty soon. And if I want to get a table over here and I say, hey, can we get a table, and the table doesn't show up, well, a master communicator wouldn't then sit there and go, let's say it again and again and again until I get it. A master communicator would go, how are other ways that I can communicate this to get the specific result? So for example, with Ethan, I went into his room, and instead of saying, go clean your room, I walked in and said, do you want to go out tonight? And he said, yes. And I said, the only way for you to go out is for your room to be clean. Otherwise, you'll be staying home. And he's like, got it, Dad. And he went and cleaned his room. So I want you to think about this, right? From an NLP perspective, when you're communicating, the next time you're talking to someone, your kids, a team member, a loved one, rather than thinking about how can I say this the right way, I want you to think about what is the result that I want? And if I don't get the result, how can I communicate in a different way? That's even for you. You know, one of the big mistakes that people make is they overpromise and underdeliver with themselves. We talked about that before, the power of your word, and that if you're going to commit to something, you got to follow through with it so that your word becomes strong for you. Well, the same is even true for me. Like when I first started working out and I was getting my health back on track, I noticed that I would say certain things to myself and nothing would happen. Like, oh, I'm going to work out, but I wouldn't get the workout on. So I would change how I communicated. I would change what I did in order for me to get that workout done, to get the exercise handled. So again, just something for you guys to think about. Topic this week coming from NLP. So the meaning of communication is the response you get, and the law of requisite variety. So tip, like I said, next time you're talking to someone, before you have the conversation, think, what is the result that I'm going for? How can I change my communication if I need to get that result? And then as you're practicing this and you're talking to someone, just notice, do you get the results that you actually are thinking about in your head? And if you don't, change your communication. Have fun with it. Have a great week, and I'll see you all next week. Aloha.